All right, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the INDY Black Chamber of Commerce and Essential Success Principles Virtual Summit, helping businesses be financially ready. My name is Chase Davis. I'm the founder of Essential Success Principles, along with the Global SME Institute, a professional training and executive consulting firm, where our primary focus is on educating organizations, businesses, owners, and professionals like yourself to provide a structured map for your next. Essential Success Principles is a thought leadership and professional speaking platform set up for experts like yourself and like-minded people on this broadcast today to discuss issues, solutions, and action plans to move your life and business forward. What I want to do right now is bring on and turn it over to our co-host and moderator, Mr. Larry Williams, the president of the INDY Black Chamber of Commerce. Good afternoon.
And thank you, Chase, for coming on and letting our members know how to help and get them ready for all these loans and financially get them ready. I definitely want to say thank you to Kenneth Businessman Allen for connecting us, because without him, this wouldn't have happened. So I appreciate it. The Black Chamber will do an event every Thursday at 1 o'clock via Zoom or webinar. We also will be doing a Facebook Live on Fridays where we're shopping our stores, and we will have 4 to 6 businesses selling their products during this COVID-19 situation. So we're just trying to find other ways to help benefit our members and help the Black community with these Black businesses. So thank you all for joining us today, and I will turn it back over to the expert, Mr. Chase.
Again, we thank Kenneth Businessman Allen as well. He's a great and fantastic brother. He's doing a lot of great things in the community there. And I think he may be actually on with us here as well, watching. And we just thank you for all that you're doing in the Indianapolis community and all that the INDY Black Chamber is doing to help the businesses in the INDY area just thrive and survive during this time. We're going to really bring on our guest speaker today, who is an Indianapolis native. Her name is Ms. Tashay Scott. She is the president and managing partner of the S Group, founded in 2008 right there in Indianapolis. The S Group continues to serve clients with a sound strategic solution within the taxation, accounting, and professional managed services arena. Tashay is a community leader. She also sits on several boards there and the author of numerous financial literacy programs and accounting courses designed to help communities, nonprofits, churches, and businesses alike. She believes that knowledge is empowerment, and what you do with that knowledge is power. I've met Tashay many years ago, and she's just been a powerhouse of a partner to work with over the years. We've worked on a lot of things nationally together, and her firm currently has successfully been empowering and guiding many clients through the CARES Act options according to the law and within the SBA.gov guidance. Her hope today is, with the knowledge given, that she will empower you as business owners listening today to sustain, survive, and thrive in this season and after the pandemic. So without further ado, I give you Ms. Tashay Scott of the S Group. Welcome, Tashay.
Thank you, Chase. Thank you, Larry. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm super excited to be here, grateful for the opportunity to be able to speak with fellow small businesses, and looking forward to our goals, of course, of surviving this pandemic currently and thriving. My whole goal is to be of service and to ensure that we all come out of this better. So what a better opportunity than to partner with the Indiana Black Chamber of Commerce and to come with some information that hopefully will be optimal to everyone and be a blessing to everyone so that we can move forward together. So thank you so very much. Wanting to jump right in, of course, and get started, and you all can let me know which parts we want to talk about, but I wanted to let you all know as it relates to who I am. As what Chase was sharing earlier, let me share my screen a little bit differently here so you can see something different. My firm is the S Group LLC. You can find us online at sgroupllc.com. We've been established since 2008. We're super excited, getting ready to celebrate 12 years of service. As Chase shared, we do provide all different types of services, including that of taxation, planning, and preparation. We do bookkeeping and bill payment for our clients. We also have a human resources and payroll services arm that we do a lot of our business. We do financial planning and wealth building workshops. Senior project management services is something else that we also do. And with the current impact of COVID-19, we begin to provide services as it relates to the CARES Act. In particular, I started out by just reaching out to our clients and letting our clients know how they could leverage the CARES Act, how they would be able to receive financial assistance that many small businesses need today, needing a boost or the lifeblood to be able to continue their business. So we were able to leverage the CARES Act. And as you see here, there's a little bit of information that's related to that on the screen. Everything that I'm sharing with you is available for you to go back and review. We'll have this video up and available for you to review after we complete it. You can also visit the CARES Act as it relates to congress.gov, where the CARES Act was actually published. You can visit that information there. You can look at the latest CARES Act update that's happened. I call it CARES 2.0. That's under HR 246. You're able to review that legislation and all of that information there on congress.gov. And you're also able to go to SBA.gov. This is where you can find all the information that we're going to be talking about today as it relates to the SBA. So it talks about the Economic Income Disaster Loan Program, as well as the PPP, which a lot of people know about, the Paycheck Protection Program. All of that is available as well on SBA.gov, and you're more than welcome to visit those websites and just, review and see what's taking place. We're going to try to give you as much information as possible during the time that we're together. But we want to make sure that you always have the source of where we are gathering our information. Information is as good as the source is. And you want to make sure that it's not just word of mouth. We want to let you know that we've taken time to review the legislation. We've taken time to review what those who are assigned with dispersing these funds, what they're doing, how they're working through things, and how they're meeting our needs. And so I wanted to make sure that we've done our homework and you can check on us with regards to that. Moving swiftly into some things that we are doing as it relates to supporting small businesses, we are leveraging the funds that are available through the CARES Act. As you see on the screen right now, hopefully you all can see that. Please let me know if you can't. There are some funding options that are available to our small businesses. When the CARES Act first opened, it became available after it was signed into law on March the 27th, 2020. That following Monday, we had the Economic Income Disaster Loan Program that was available. We also had the Paycheck Protection Program that was available. I'm going to go back over to my website because I have a grid that I created to give you a little bit of information that kind of breaks things down for you. Give me just a moment here. This is back on my website, and you can find the same information on the SBA, but I created a grid just to make it easier so people would understand that there are two different options available to you, not just one. You have two options, and I encourage you to leverage both options, not just to leverage one for its benefits, but leverage both of them, and I'll explain why. The first option is the Economic Income Disaster Loan Program. That option is available for small businesses like yours and mine to receive a loan. These are loans for up to $2 million under the EIDL program. The interest rate is 3.75% for a for-profit entity and 2.75% for a nonprofit entity. There is zero collateral required if you have a loan of less than $25,000. There's $0 of any guarantee required by you for a loan of less than $200,000. Further, the principal, this loan has a possibility of being stretched out for over 30 years. That's a long time. to be able to repay this loan back, which is really lucrative and a great option for business. It lets you know the different type of businesses that can leverage this loan. Now, we've seen some businesses leverage this loan that there was a public outcry about that because they really weren't considered small businesses that we know them to be. But we have that information. It speaks of sole proprietorships, independent contractors. I'm talking about if you have a lawn mowing service, if you own a barber shop, a beauty shop, a nail salon, if you are your own general contractor. I'm talking about those types of independent businesses, as independent contractors. You can leverage this loan. This is all being directed by the SBA. Within the application for the Economic Income Disaster Loan Program, there is a check mark that you can say, I have been negatively impacted by the coronavirus and COVID-19. And we know that there are businesses that have been negatively impacted. One, the quarantines, not being able to move about as we normally are able to move about to do business exchange. Those things negatively impact our businesses, especially for individuals that do a contact type of service. Someone that has a contactless service, they're not as impacted, but they are still impacted. And thus you want to check that box that you've been negatively impacted. Further, if you have been, there are emergency funds that are available for you to request. Those emergency funds initially started out as $10,000 per application. Since this time of March 27, 2020, and all the things that have happened with the funds that are being leveraged, that has been
I think we lost audio there with Deshay there.
impacted.
Okay, there she is. We lost audio with Deshay for just a moment.
Oh,
So you might want to go back a minute for us, just a moment there.
okay. Where did we stop?
I think we stopped off when you was basically talking about just taking advantage of both of those programs that you have available.
Okay. I'm so sorry about that. Everything seems fine.
I think it went, if we have another.
Economic income.
Yeah, I think we're having some technical difficulties here, slightly. So we're having a few difficulties, but we'll get Deshay back up here in just a moment.
Right. If you can, send her a message, Brother Chase. Ask her to back out and come back in. It's her internet service. If she can get a little closer to the internet.
And Brother Larry, we'll bring Brother Larry back on here,
Yep.
just to talk about some of the things that's already been discussed as it relates to what have you guys been seeing there in the Indianapolis area, or what have some of your members and your own experience, even that you guys have gone through. I know you guys have gone through the process for yourselves in the business, and what you saw were some things that were easy and some of the things that you found a little challenging, both for your own business and what your members have been experiencing so far.
Correct. So with some of our members, the issues they were having were they didn't have the 940s and the 941s. So you had to do a 941 for your taxes every quarter. And so a lot of our smaller businesses did not have that information. They also wanted W-2s from 2019. And so a lot of our businesses are more cash oriented or paying cash out or writing checks, but we're not keeping track of who we're writing checks to and things of that nature. So what we suggest right now, this is the time for us to start understanding the importance of being organized and the importance of documentation. And so documentation is so important outside of your business so that people can understand what your business is, what's your layout and what's your goal. Another thing that I would suggest and that people write down what their losses are, because everybody keeps track of what they gain. But during this COVID-19, you need to have a COVID-19 customer, and you need to invoice them for whatever you've lost. So, if your contract was this week, you're supposed to have 10 employees somewhere, and because of COVID-19 was shut down, you should invoice COVID-19. So at the end of the year, we know how many, how much money was missed because of COVID-19. Because next year, taxes may come and they say, well, how much did you lose during COVID-19? And if you don't have the documentation, then they're going to pull back.
And that is absolutely correct. I mean, the documentation is everything. And again, we have Mr. Chase Scott back with the S Group. And, one of our expertise is taxation. As well as mine, as well as my area as well. And it's so important, and Larry is right on point there. If we don't have that good and consistent tracking of your businesses, not just the profits, but the loss, during the P&L, during your balance sheets on a monthly basis, and really getting to know your business. And I know it's important, and so many of us say, well, we know our business, the service you provide, the utility of your business, but do you really know your business? So, and I used to call that minding our business. And I think a lot of us do our business, but we don't mind our business. And we have to get to a place where we start minding our business. And really, that's the discussion today, is taking advantage of these particular programs to get us on track to start minding our businesses better. If COVID-19 hadn't taught us anything, it's taught us really how we hadn't really been doing business as we thought we were. And I think this is putting in a situation to see how we need to structure and be better, even though this is a bad time for a lot of businesses. But this is also a time where we have a little more downtime, but this is that time we need to be getting our books in order, getting our financial house in order, understanding, getting our policies, procedures, quality, getting some good planning in order. So, and taking advantage of the program that Mr. Shea is speaking of to really now come out of this thing on a better side and really be able to thrive in the future going forward. We have to Shea back, and I'm going to basically turn it back over to her so she can continue giving us all this great information that's going to help us all today.
Awesome. Not sure what happened, but they're trying to fix it in the background. So I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to share my screen just in case that was causing a problem. I know everything by heart because this is what I've been doing primarily for many of my clients over the last several weeks, at least a month and some change. So what Mr. Williams and Mr. Davis are talking about is absolutely correct. What we've seen with even trying to leverage the Economic Income Disaster Loan Program or leverage the Paycheck Protection Program is these institutions are going to ask questions as it relates to your financial wherewithal. They want to know, what was your income for your business in 2019? They want to know, what were your expenses? If you are someone who has goods that you sell, if you are a restaurateur and you are getting raw goods and then you're taking those raw goods and you're preparing meals for them, they want to know about that. They want to know, what was the cost of your goods that you sold? Because that is a business expense. If you have an office, different things like that, they want to know about those expenses, because at the end of the day, they want to understand whether or not your business is profitable. The SBA and the banks that you will leverage for the PPP or the SBA when you will leverage the Economic Income Disaster Loan Program are looking at the profitability of your business for repayment of these loans. And I know a lot of people are like, clutch my pearls. What do you mean repayment? I thought these loans would be 100% forgiven. The loans due under the Paycheck Protection Program have the ability to be 100% forgiven, but understand and note that there are some specific requirements for the Paycheck Protection forgiveness, meaning that you have to have 75% of that loan be spent on employees, be spent on the salary of those employees, be spent on the rent and things of that nature Thank you, that are required for those employees. All of that, pardon me, I'm getting my internet together. All of that is necessary in order for you to apply in the future for the loan forgiveness. That's right. The loan forgiveness is not 100% effective simply because you apply for and you receive a paycheck protection loan. There will be another application that you are going to have to submit to apply for loan forgiveness. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Yeah, there are some questions on the screen. So Stephanie Tudor says, does your company assist with the completion of these loans? And before we answer that, I want to go back to something you just said a moment ago about, people need to understand that that they're going to have to apply for the loan forgiveness after they get the loan, which I think goes back to the very thing Mr. Larry just said. Larry just said a moment ago. It goes back to what documentation is going to be necessary in order to provide for that application in order for those loans to be forgiven. Because I think we're back to that same documentation conversation.
Absolutely. And that is a good point that you gentlemen raised. There has to be documentation, and there's a word, it's a $5 word, I call it substantiate. We are going to have to substantiate what it is that we are putting on an application. What do I mean by substantiate? I mean, if the application asks for your gross revenue and you put, well, I know I made about $75,000 last year, or I know my company brought in 50,000 or 200,000 or whatever the case may be, you're going to have to substantiate that. You're going to have documentation that shows that you really did make this money. Documentation for receipts if you were using credit cards, documentation of banking statements that show that you actually deposited this funds. A lot of our businesses sometimes have a difficult time substantiating revenue because we're cash based, because we don't separate our personal checking account from our business checking account. We commingle funds. We just say it's all one pot to me, child. I'm just going to put money in and take money out. When we're doing business, we have to execute our business in the most excellent way. And be not dismayed. If you have not done that in the past, start doing that today. Start tracking your revenue. Start tracking your funds to make sure that you know where your money came from. Many of us can be bivocational, meaning that we have 2 jobs or more. You want to track exactly where your money is coming from so that when the banker or the loan processor or anyone will come and ask you, the tax man will come and ask you, please prove to me what you're saying is correct. It's more than just your vocal ability. It is actually documentation that you are able to show where the revenue came from, where the expenses came from, for you to get those deductions and all those wonderful things. We have to be able to substantiate this information. Did I answer that point, Chase?
Absolutely. And I think what I'm hearing you saying too, that if you have not been doing this documentation, if you have not been doing these things, it's not too late. Start, not tomorrow, start today, right now, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely start today. And don't be afraid that you haven't done it. A lot of times we get intimidated about what we have not done well. This is the perfect opportunity to begin to go back and just correct the things that you can correct. Believe it or not, there are many people that they're just not aware of what to do. But when you become aware of it, do it. When you become aware of how to handle business better, handle it better. And that's what we're talking about today. To speak
like my mother, but when you know better, do better, right?
You know better, do better.
Absolutely.
And we know better. And it's going to make us better, right?
Absolutely. So let's go back to, so I think hopefully we answered, I think it was Stephanie's question there. She really wanted to know, is this loan forgiven? So I guess if you want to speak to which loan particularly is forgiven and which one isn't.
Okay, so there were 2 questions possibly from Stephanie. The first one that I saw was in relation to, do we assist with the loan process and submitting the application? The answer is yes. We do offer a virtual concierge service to assist individuals with completing their applications. That is for a fee. We can talk about that. We can send a whole package out to you, and we have received that partnership with the Indiana Black Chamber of Commerce to make sure that we can offer those services. Secondarily, with the other question, I see the question on the screen, Chase, it says, so do you estimate potential customers for photography? They are not in the books if they didn't book because of the virus. Do you estimate potential customers for photography? Is that something you guys were talking about before I got back on the line?
No, this is a new question. This is a new question. So I'm imagining what she's saying is, I guess maybe there were customers on the books or potential business that would have been on the books, but because of COVID, she's not able to book clients. Almost like, I think that's the same issues our salons are probably having, our nail shops, where they would potentially, if open, if it hadn't been for COVID, they would have business booked, massage parlors and things of that nature. So what are they able to do if they're not able to show customers on their books because they're an appointment-driven business?
Well, great question. The way the applications are established is they're looking at revenue pre-COVID. Okay, they're looking at revenue pre-CARES Act. The application itself asks for revenue, gross revenue of 2019. So you're talking about January 1 of 2019 through December 31st of 2019. Further, the application substantiates that you have to be in business prior to January 31st of 2020. So they're not asking for post-COVID impact in financial details. They're just
I think we lost Tashay again. I think there's a few problems there again. Hopefully we'll get her back here again shortly.
I'm right here.
Okay, there she is. She's back. Yeah, great. So I think you definitely have a question for us. Bro, what do you have to add to that? To that question, to answer your member's question there? Anything you have to add to that question?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about having a customer that called COVID-19. That if you had them, if they're not on the books but they were potential and they were supposed to be there, I would still make up an invoice for them. And again, I would just put that in a different category, a different customer, just call it COVID-19, so you can track all the money you've lost.
Absolutely. So Cecilia Whitfield asked, the idol, what changes has happened from March 27, 2020?
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you great.
Great.
Thank you.
What's going on?
So Cecilia Whitfield asked,
a universal enemy.
Happened since March 27th of this year.
So the changes that have happened for the Economic Income Disaster Loan Program presently is that the application is not open yet. The SBA has said, we are going to open the application. We're going to let you know when we reopen the application, but not right now, because they are attempting to process as many PPP applications as possible. What they also are doing, I can tell you for a fact, they're also processing the current applications that they have in the queue. Meaning, if you were able to successfully submit an application for the Economic Income Disaster Loan Program, they have that, and you received a confirmation number, they have that in the queue. They are processing them. I spoke to a dear client of mine who is a restaurateur. She was able to receive her funds from the Economic Income Disaster Loan Program a couple of nights ago. And don't think that the deposits and things of that nature are going to happen, only during banking hours. She received her deposit at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please know that they're still processing these applications, but they're also trying to make sure they are going through and working with the banks to process the PPP applications as well. Does that answer the question?
I believe the SBA.gov actually issued a statement as well as relates to the idol. Maybe you can clarify that for us. If an application had a certain number, I think they was doing by 2s or 3s or something on the application, that spoke of, it would basically say either that application was accepted or was not accepted, and there was a way to check that. Could you speak to that?
Well, yes, there were some applications that they were speaking to that may not have made it when they did some type of back transfer. Some of the applications may have had a problem with transferring over. If your application confirmation number begin with the number 2, you want to follow up with the SBA to ensure that they have your application and that it is in the queue. If it begins with the number 3 or beyond, you should be fine. And you're always welcome, of course, to follow up.
Thank you for that. So Stephanie Tudor says, do you customize each client for the services you offer?
Yes, we do. We offer services based on our clients' needs. We do customize them to make sure that we're in the service industry. So it is our aim to provide excellent service and at a customized place and point that the customer needs. There's no need to be in service if you don't offer, what people want. But that's a great question. We do. For example, I was just talking to a client prior to this meeting, and we have an agreement with him for the Economic Income Disaster Loan Program. So we have all the information ready to go. As soon as that app reopens, we're there sending that information right over on his behalf. Someone else we worked with before, they do the PPP. Now with the PPP, we can offer those services as well. We'll either walk through that process with the client, we'll do a screen share and we'll help them fill out the application, or we would go in and assist them with it. However we need to do it, the answer is yes. I'm long-winded, I'm detail-oriented. Yes, we do.
So now, how does this affect, and I'm sure, Larry, you've gotten this question as well from some of your members, how does this affect the 1099 worker, the big employee, the person out there who's out there doing the grad services, who's out there having the single person janitorial service, or that 1099 consultant who's just consulting for everybody? How do these programs impact those individuals, and what can they do?
Are you asking me that, Chase? I'm sorry.
One of you guys want to answer, Tashay or Larry?
Go ahead, Tashay.
Okay, I thought when you said Larry, so I'm looking at the comments. You were asking, say the last part of your question that you were asking, Chase. I'm sorry.
So basically, for the 1099 workers, our contractors out there, our single person consultants out there that are just helping other businesses, they may be 1099 contractors, your Uber drivers, your Amazon employees that are contracted just to drive the trucks. That's all they do. So what can we do for those individuals, and what can they do, and how can they take advantage of these programs?
Right. Oh, great question. Great question. One, let me be clear. Sole proprietors, independent contractors, just as those that you've delineated and explained, can absolutely take advantage of these programs. So yes, your Uber drivers, yes, your Lyft drivers, your truck drivers, so on and so forth. DoorDash people, absolutely everyone that is receiving a 1099, that would be an independent contractor, 1099 miscellaneous, that would be an independent contractor. They can leverage these loans. You're able to go in and submit the applications on your behalf, for yourself, by yourself. On the legal side of things, we call that being pro se. You can go and handle everything yourself. Go to SBA.gov, talk directly with your bank, follow their application procedures, and submit the information. Or you can partner with us. I know that the Indiana Black Chamber of Commerce has been working with their affiliates and partners, submitting applications and assisting on that behalf. The S Group, we've been doing that with our clients as well. So you absolutely, if you have received a 1099, you absolutely can leverage that. And let me clear this up. If you have not received a 1099, know this, but 1099s are only required to be delivered if you have made $600 or more with a particular person or with a particular business. But what if your whole income is based upon contracted services? What if you own a home cleaning service, right? And so these people are you may clean them once a month, once a quarter. The individual clients may not give you a 1099, but you've kept your records, you know what you've done, and you have that information available. You also can apply for these loans, PPP or the EIDL.
And while we're on that subject, can we talk about that for the business owners, especially as it relates to the Paycheck Protection Program? Mm-hmm. So the difference, understanding the difference between what is salary employees, W-2 employees versus 1099, and understanding that if they have 1099 people that were on their payroll, those are people, those individuals are not and cannot be, you cannot use the PPP for pay for those individuals because of the fact that those individuals can file separately, as you just said, and that could potentially cause issues or in the sake of the loan being forgiven, make it void. Can we speak to that?
Absolutely. You get me excited about all this good stuff. The applications actually do provide direction and legal details as it relates to how we're submitting them. So for what Chase is talking about, you can be a W-2 employer and have 1099 contractors that work for you. So what that means is if you are a W-2 employer, you actually by December 31st are supposed to give the W-2 employees their details. It shows their salary that you paid them. It shows the taxes that you withheld and transferred to either federal or state. It showed any other benefits that may have been available to them. That's W-2. Then for the 1099 contractors that you've worked with, you give them a 1099. That shows them the full amount that you've paid them financially. No deductions. There were no benefits extended. There was no transfer of taxes or anything of that nature. Self-employment tax and all that is taken care of by that contractor because they are their own business, right? So then what happens is when you are submitting an application, either under the EIDL or the PPP, and the question comes up, how many employees do you have? You have to only count those that you submitted a W-2 for. You do not count anyone that you gave a 1099 for. And the reason being that 1099 individual is their own business. They are an independent contractor. They have the ability to leverage the same loans that you are attempting to leverage. Is that okay, Chase?
That was perfect. That was perfect. So we'll let you continue with your presentation because I know there's a lot more information you have to give, and we'll continue to take viewers. We'll continue to take your questions, and we'll try to get to as many of them as possible. But go ahead and continue to share. Unless Larry, you have anything to add to this segment?
Well, I have a couple of questions being sent to me. One was, what would you suggest for a real estate broker owner with no employees and was in the middle of a transaction that ended before closing the transaction due to the market crash?
I would suggest that a real estate broker and owner apply for the Economic Income Disaster Loan Program and the PPP program. Real estate brokers and are independent contractors. Even if you are associated with an FC Tucker, if you're associated with the Keller Williams, or if you are associated with Acme Incorporated, just to name a few. And I'm just talking about those that are within my neck of the woods. Okay, those, you sign an independent contractor agreement with those firms. You're not an employee. You know the difference because of even how you are paid. They're not taking any taxes out. You're an independent contractor. You are your own business. It is up the best and the most onus of you to take care of your business and definitely apply for these loans. I'll tell everybody, the worst that they can say is no. Give them the opportunity to say yes. Give them the opportunity to give you funds. Give them the opportunity to help you during this time. And even for individuals that say, well, I'm getting by, I might not need it. I have a little bit saved. That's okay. But I want you to think like a wealthy business owner who has the opportunity to leverage funds that you might not need. But just in case you might not need them doesn't mean that you won't need them in the future. What if things last longer than we anticipate? I would say definitely, absolutely, 100%. Am I underscoring? Am I bold? Am I highlighting it? You need to apply for these loans.
Well, and you just hit a subject that's very dear to me a little bit. And before I get on that, I know, Larry, you had another question. I want to make sure your questions get answered.
I got someone else said, I applied for the EIDL loan and received the EIDG. So it was a much lower amount dispersed. Do you know the difference in these loans?
Okay, so I would be curious and would want to talk to them offline because the way it works for the application, you would have to agree to a different type of loan. It's like going to a car dealership, for example. I want this Bentley. I really do. But I want this Bentley. And it has all these bells and whistles, and I'm willing to pay this for this Bentley because I'm going to leverage this Bentley. The car dealership doesn't get the opportunity to say, well, we want to give you this Maserati instead. It doesn't work like that. So I would be curious to know whether or not they may have applied for multiple loans, because there are multiple loan offerings available through the SBA.gov. I talked to a client who's out of the DMV area, beautiful young lady. She's a doctor, and she has private practice. And she told me that she was applying for everything. She was like, Tashay, I'm applying for everything. And I said, well, where's your confirmation from this? She said, I don't know. I'm just going to send you everything I got. And when I tell you she applied for everything, she applied for everything. And so that could, you can kind of get things kind of squirrely, but just be clear. No one can offer you or have you or make you accept anything that you have not applied for. So I would just want to talk to them offline to figure out, like, how did that happen? That wasn't supposed to happen. But strange things do happen.
And so there's two questions that I want to bring up, and I know we got to get to some other information, but two things that come to mind is, and they coexist with each other here, is many of us as minority businesses are scared of that four-letter word, loan. We're scared of that four-letter word, loan. And then also the other side of that speaks to, what if my credit score is bad, or what if I hadn't done this? So how does credit score and credit and even the fear of taking a loan play into what they should do to help their business moving forward? I know my personal opinion is you should always take advantage. A loan is something to help you. And most of the majority businesses out there we have to understand that majority firms out in the marketplace, all these corporations, most of them exist because there was a loan that they've gotten somewhere at some point in time in the growth of their business to get their business to that place. But a lot of times we want to do this old thing, we're used to bootstrapping ourselves, but bootstrapping ourselves may not always be the way to go, especially in a season like this, and to also try to expand your business to grow larger, grow faster. Can you speak to that? To that four-letter word loan, that bad word for us, and also how does credit score play into the whole COVID SBA thing?
Absolutely. Great point. Great question. I'm delighted to speak about that. First and foremost, let me be clear. The way I was raised by my parents, I was told to owe no man nothing but love. My parents were not with getting the loans or anything of that nature. They were very much sweat equity. They were very much, if you can't do it on your own, don't ask anybody for anything, because they always want more than what you got. So that's how I was groomed, and that's how I was raised. And for a long time, that's how I approached life. I'm telling you, and that will infiltrate other things as well. But we're talking about finances today, okay? So what I will tell you as it relates to loans is that it is important that we understand business as it relates to money and leveraging loans. I will tell people who are getting homes, when you're getting a home and you are going and you want to sign on a home and buy a new home, you are leveraging the bank's money for that home. And I know we all scream, I'm a homeowner, until you get the title and the deed.
The bank is the homeowner.
I mean, let's be honest. But you're comfortable with leveraging that mortgage. You're comfortable with leveraging that money, but you're not comfortable with leveraging other money and other opportunities that are available. I would say that we need to make sure that we understand it is okay to get a loan that you are going to repay. Now, if the whole point is I don't want to get a loan because I don't want to pay it back, that's another story. That we can talk about that later. But the loan itself can be used in such a way to where you are able to make money off of the loan. You can put this money to work for you to where you are making more money than the interest that you are actually having to pay on the loan. That's just changing our mindset about some things. I was able to build wealth and start businesses and do the things that I'm doing, not just by my sweat equity, but with it, not just by my wherewithal, but with it, and not just with the loan, but with the loan. I was able to actually go and say, you know what? I want my business to grow to another level. So I'm going to have to leverage some of this money. And let me tell you, an interest rate of 3.75% on the EIDL, the EIDL loan, or 4% on the PPP is amazing. Amazing. And for them to tell you that you may have up to 30 years to pay that back, even better. You don't have to sign personally for $25,000, meaning no one can come for you personally. Oh, come on. You are a business owner. We got to start making business moves, money moves. We got to go ahead and do that. Additionally, personal credit. It's here to stay. We need to make sure that we manage our personal credit, because if our business does not have credit or credit worthiness that has been proven, they will leverage the personal credit. Now, let's be clear. According to the law in the CARES Act of 2020, personal credit scores were not supposed to be considered for these loans. However, I cannot prove 100%, but my gut is my gut, and I always trust it. And what I've seen thus far, there have been some institutions, some banks who shall remain nameless because you won't come after me. But I will say that they have been leveraging people's personal credit scores before they will even process their PPP application. This is the thing I'll say to that. Don't get mad because the football is deflated. Adjust and play the game. You in the game now. So now you need to adjust and play it accordingly. If you know that you're always getting the short end of the stick, stack them babies up and make yourself a long stick. Stack them babies up and make sure that you work this thing for your benefit. That means that, yes, if you need to get your credit in order to make sure that your business is worthy of credit, get it in order. Don't scream at the darkness, turn on the light.
And now if they're seeing some of that, Larry, what are you guys doing if some of the members are seeing that? Because we do know, according to the COVID Act, that it is against the law for us to do that. Is there something that the chamber is able to do, or something you guys do to? I know a lot of this is going to be after the fact, where once this passed, then we're going to start seeing those, let's call it what it is, maybe potential lawsuits or claims or things coming against those banks that did those things. Is there a system that you guys have in place that's tracking some of that, some of those issues that you're seeing from the members?
Yes, we do. And what we're asking everyone, if they having those issues, that they email us what was said, because you got to have, again, that's documentation. You had to have documentation. If they denied you, please send us a letter why they denied you, because they got to send in an email. So if we can see that email, why they denied you, what their excuse was, and we get enough of those, then we can do a class action, or bring it to them. And advocacy is one of the number one things for the Black Chamber, is what we do. So we will go and talk to them and talk to the president specifically, and when we call, they answer.
And let me jump in there really quickly to make sure that when Larry is receiving these emails, because I'm confident that you will receive them, it can't just be word of mouth, and it cannot be hearsay, specifically as it relates to Rule 23 of a class action lawsuit. What has to happen, if you are speaking to, we'll call him John Doe, we'll call her Jane Doe from Acme Bank. There ain't no Acme Banks out there, right? Okay. Well, so if John Doe or Jane Doe from Acme Bank clicks up and calls you, you answer the phone. Hello, Mrs. Business Owner. Hello, Mr. Business Owner. We're unable to give you a PPP loan because your credit score is next to nil, 0. And we need someone that has money and has a good credit score. Sorry, we won't be able to help you. Oh, well, I thought that the law said thus and so. And you talk and you converse back with them, and they end up hanging up the phone. What you're supposed to do is get your handy dandy computer out, get your phone out, get your tablet out. You send them an email. Hello, Mr. Such and so, such so. Thank you for calling me on today, April the 30th, 2020 at 1:51 p.m. Per our conversation, you advised me that my credit score was next to nil, and that is the reason why I am not receiving a PPP loan. Will you please let me know of what other options I have available? Best regards, and looking forward to working with you in the future. Trust, believe, and know the future is going to be within that next hour, because they're not going to respond to that email saying, yep, that's what I said. What they're going to do is find a way to help you. Or they might be slow and reply and say, we can't help you today, which is all the leverage that you need to forward over to Mr. Williams.
So Nicole Powell asked, I was applying for the business, you grant, and they asked for your EIN number. Should I be worried about giving? So basically she's asking, should she be worried about giving out her EIN number?
I would say no. I would say with any grant that you're applying for, anyone that you have to give personal information to, make sure that it's someone that you do trust. If you are questioning their integrity, don't do business with them. I got, a house on the moon to sell you type deal. Don't do business with them if your gut tells you, or if you're uncomfortable with giving them your personal information or your business information, such as the EIN. Also know that some things are public record. So if they're asking for certain information that's public record, then you can go ahead and give it, because they can go pull that from the public record. But if they're asking for information that you hold dear and near, and you're, worried about identity theft and you're not really sure who they are, then don't release that information to them, or see if there's an option for you not to release it at this point until they let you know that you are receiving the grant. A lot of these grant funders are asking for that information because they're going to turn around y'all next year, and they're going to be able to say that they did a lot of philanthropic work, and they're going to be able to use it as a tax deduction. The game is supposed to be sold, not sold. I'm just letting you know, though. I'm going to let you know.
And also, I would add, if they're applying for the EIDL loan or the PPP, that as a business, that's part of the application process. Even as 1099, if you're a 1099 employee, your EIN number is in that corner on the actual 1099. So that's a safe move. So
and EIN could be your social security number as well if you don't have an EIN.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. So Stephanie Tudor asked us, is there business credit and personal? Is there business credit and personal credit? And if so, how do you establish business credit? So I guess she's asked, are they one and the same here?
Yes. The answer is yes. There is business credit and there is personal credit. If you are a legitimate business and you really want to start developing your business credit, you want to make sure that you do have an EIN. You do want to make sure that you are started operating legitimately with your business name, your business, the whole suit of your business. You want to start working in the marketplace in that way, using and leveraging your EIN and all of that good stuff. You're going to also possibly get credit offerings from credit card companies for your business. You want to leverage that. That's a surefire way to begin to establish credit in the marketplace. Your banks may begin to offer certain things to you as well for that business, which is separate from you. It's a separate entity from you, especially, it gets a little hairy if you're doing an LLC that's a pass-through entity. We can talk about that later, but you can still get an EIN for that, or an S Corp and all kind of good stuff. But the answer is yes, you do want to establish credit for yourself personally and for your business. You want to make sure that stuff is healthy on both sides so that you can go anywhere you want to go and get what you need to get.
And just one other thing I want to add before we move on, I want to try to see what other tips you want to give in the last 6-7 minutes here. And even if they get the EIDL, let's say they get it, because you just told them to apply for everything.
Yes.
Now, if they get the EIDL loan and they're still afraid of that, which I hope they would not be, do they have to accept it? And can they pay it off early? Do they have to do the whole 20 years? Can they pay some back early? How does that work?
Great questions. See, we could stay here all day. The answer is that if they receive an EIDL loan or a loan offering, you can choose not to accept it. I would, if I were your accountant, if I don't win your business today, I hope to win it tomorrow. I work with people who want to build wealth. I work with people that want to pass down more than shoes and jewelry. I said that. I do. I want you to be able to pass down land, pass down businesses, pass down bonds, pass down, good equity and all of this good stuff. So I would say definitely leverage the money that is available to you. To answer Chase's question, there is no prepayment penalty for paying off that loan. You could take that money if you wanted to, and you could send that loan, especially under the EIDL program, you can put it in your own escrow account. I don't need it yet, but I might need it. That escrow account could actually be making an interest You can then turn that back over and say, you know what, I don't need this money. I'm going to give it back to you. There's no prepayment penalty. Or you can they can, do an offering to you, and you can decide that you don't want to leverage the loan at all. They're not going to get mad. I mean, the loan processor may feel like you wasted their time, but other than that, nobody's going to get mad.
I have a couple people asking for your information, Ms. Scott. Everybody wants to know how to get in touch with you. I do have a gentleman that said he has been approved for the PPP loan back in April 10th, and he said he still hasn't got it released, or he has an approval and the fund letter, but the bank hasn't approved it. I mean, hasn't released the funds, and he's called the bank, but they keep giving him the runaround. But also, I have a lot of people asking for your information so they can be your new clients.
Awesome. It would be my pleasure to serve you, would be my answer to that. And I mean that sincerely. So you can go to our website at sgroupllc.com. That's the letter S, because it stands for not my last name, y'all, but Sound Strategic Solutions is what we supply. But that's sgroupllc.com. You can also reach us. You can text the word CARES, CARES, to 317-378-2804, or you can text the word tax to 317-378-2804, or you can just text myself, my assistant, or someone will get back to you to establish a consultation appointment or to answer further questions.
Give me that again. I'm going to put it in the chat box for everyone.
Okay, awesome. So they can go to the website. That's S as in Sam, and the word group, GROUP, LLC.com. Or they can, text or call our office line at 317-378-2804.
2804?
2804. And that's on our website as well. Speaking about the gentleman, you said that, let's see here. I was going so fast.
He said he got approved for the PPP loan and didn't get to receive it.
Oh yeah, he's not in that boat alone. There's a few people that's out there, a few 100,000 people that are floating in that boat. And what happened is on March 27th, when President Trump signed that money into law, was $349 billion with a B, right? That was signed into law for the EIDL, the Economic Income Disaster Loan Program, as well as the PPP. Well, what happened is that money was accounted for quickly. So for people that were even approved, they had to go into this holding pattern because there was no money available. Since that time, last Friday, President Trump has signed into law another set of funds. I think we had $376 billion with a B that was made available again, and they're now going through the process to disseminate those funds. Now, this is what happened. I'll give you another peek under the hood. What happens is your bank, your credit union, or whomever that you're getting funds through, the SBA is guaranteeing these loans. And so they're saying you can give out, Acme Bank, there's Acme Bank again. You can give out $60 million in federal aid through the PPP program that we will back, and we'll make sure you get your money back if you allow your clients to leverage it. If that bank has extended all 60 million, they have to go into a holding pattern until they get more funds, because the bank, as nice as they are, do they still give out suckers? Anyway, as nice as they are, they don't want to put their neck out there. They don't want to stick their neck out there and hope that the SBA gives them this money back. So they'll just wait until they get the funds and begin the queue process and releasing funds again. That's really what's happening. Congratulations on the getting the app in, though, and actually getting the approval.
Great. Well, thank you so much for that. And, I know we don't have enough time. I was hoping that we could have gotten to what I like to call pivot planning. And Brother Larry, hopefully maybe you can have us on again another time. And what my pivot planning is, and that's really what my entity focuses on a lot of times, is how do we plan for the future? How do we now pivot from this point to move forward for that? We're in survival mode right now, but how do we now move through sustainability, through thriving, and understanding how to do crucial pivot planning for your business? Like we said before, the documentation piece. If you hadn't done it before, start it today. Start it now. And then get to a point where you'll see Mr. J to help you make sure your entity structures are great. You're getting, you make sure that you're a member of the INDY Black Chamber to get all the education and to get other things that you need to really be thriving in your community. And then look at, once those things together, look at now pivot planning, which is more expansion and growth and how to take on projects and how to now start really building your business toward a more sustainable future. That legacy building, I like to call it. And hopefully we can come on later on and have a different conversation about that. Larry, any last minute comments you want to give to the members?
We just want to thank you guys for your expertise and talking to our members. We truly appreciate it. I do want to remind everybody, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we're doing Facebook Live. We will have 4 to 6 businesses who are selling products. So we're just trying to find a new way of making sure that our Black businesses can stay afloat. And this is the best way where we have our own shopping network, home shopping network, as we call it, the SOS, saving our stores. So shopping our stores, I'm sorry. So we're just trying to help our community that way.
Fantastic. Any last minute? Any parting words here?
I do have some parting words. One thing, on another call I was on, a gentleman talked about the different straits that we have gone through, especially speaking to the Indiana Black Chamber of Commerce. We've come through so much to get to this point. And I just want to let you know that there are better days ahead. I want to let you know that you will not only survive this if you don't give up. The ball is in your court, believe it or not. Do not give up. Do not give in. Do not give out. Do not throw in the towel. Make sure you're partnering with other businesses to ensure that we all will survive. And then after we survive, let's go ahead and thrive.
Absolutely. Well, we thank everybody that joined us today. We thank Larry Williams and Ms. Anita Williams for giving us this opportunity to come present this information to you. We thank you, Scott and the S Group, for all that you guys are doing, and we appreciate your partnership. We appreciate all that you've done, all the things that we've done across the country so far. We want to also thank our production manager, Raheem, in the background here for just helping us out and getting us through everything, and Mr. Kenneth, businessman Al, as well, for connecting all this together. And we just appreciate all of you, the business owners out there that are out there making sure that we have a voice in the community, that you're really standing, during this period, that you're not letting this get you down. And we're here to help you. We're here to serve you. And if we can be assistants in any way, any of us on here, please reach out to us. We're here to help you. And we thank you for being with us. Until next time, we thank you.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.